I'm going to take you through our review now, just our basic overview of stronger memory, but I also want to show you our research. So first we'll do the overview, and then I have a few slides from our research PowerPoint that George Mason University did a presentation for us last Friday. Some of you might have attended that, but I have some of the highlights that we'll share. That full recording will be available, but we don't have it uploaded quite yet. So I'll share some preview info with you today. So Stronger Memory is a brain health program powered by Goodwin Living. And so one thing that's really important, I like to start with Alzheimer's and dementia, any other kind of cognitive challenge. It's not a normal part of growing older. As we get older, that risk increases, but it's not a guarantee that we're going to get dementia and Alzheimer's. In recent years, we've discovered that there are a lot of things we can do to try and reduce that risk. And so Stronger Memory is one of those things, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Other big things you can do for brain health is exercise, even just 15 minutes of walking a day, or if walking's hard, 15 minutes of light arm exercises, anything that gets your heart rate going. This is the founder of Stronger Memory, Wendy Liebrick. Wendy was born in Portland, Oregon. She has, actually, I need to update this, has been married for 55 years. 3 children, 7 grandchildren, her 3 grand dogs. And Wendy is very physically active. She is social, college graduate, non-smoker, really didn't have a lot of the risk factors for dementia. But in 2011, Wendy started repeating her thoughts, forgetting conversations, and she even got lost traveling a road that she'd grown up in her whole life. So she and her husband were starting to get frustrated and also scared because this was impacting her daily activities and her independence. So Wendy took a test in 2011 that showed she did have some brain function challenges. She was diagnosed with something called mild cognitive impairment, which is often a precursor to a more serious form of dementia. So she asked her son, Rob Liebrick, who's currently the CEO of Goodwin Living, if there was anything he had heard about that could help her improve her brain health and maintain her brain health. Rob was in the field of senior living, hadn't seen anything yet, but in 2012 was introduced to research that showed individuals with very advanced dementia doing simple numeracy, reading and writing exercises were having improved or stabilized test scores. So Wendy gave it a try. She started reading out loud, writing by hand, and doing simple math problems quickly, and saw improvement within a month. That then evolved into Aegis brain level engagement for Aegis Living out in Seattle, and they saw the similar results. So in 2019, Rob was now with Goodwin Living. He created the Stronger Memory curriculum along with a occupational therapist, and we started Stronger Memory at Goodwin Living in 2020. It was posted online, and we started doing groups, Stronger Memory groups, at our life plan communities and a group via Zoom with our Goodwin Living at Home members to kind of trial it out. And we did partner with George Mason for some initial research of the effects, and that was some in-depth interviews. And what they found was that participants really felt that it was making a difference. They were enjoying the program. They were getting a lot out of it. So in 2021, we launched a national effort with the Village to Village Network. And that's how we got connected with your village and others. And I think we're we're up to, I don't know, maybe we've been in 50, somewhere between 50 and 60 villages. So it's been just a great partnership. And then in 2022, we launched Stronger Memory in senior centers throughout the state of Maryland. So we're continuing to share. So what is this great program for brain health? It is designed to help individuals who want to improve their brain health, whether you have any challenges right now or not. It's simple activities, practice daily, at least 5 days a week for 20 to 30 minutes a day. And it triggers activity in your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain right behind your forehead. And we know from research that this part of the brain helps with recall, with our working memory. So exercising this part of the brain helps stabilize or improve cognitive functions. So you can see here on this slide, we've got some brain images. And the idea is, if your brain is an idle thought, you're watching TV, but not anything interesting, you're looking out the window, your brain's not working a lot. And certainly we need to relax. We need to do this sometimes, but we also need to exercise our brain. And when we're doing reading a book aloud or doing really simple math problems, we're activating that prefrontal cortex, but we're also activating both hemispheres of our brain. So we're trying to get our brain to exercise those connections, those neural pathways. So each day that you do your Stronger Memory exercises, you will spend between 5 and 10 minutes on each of the 3 exercises. One is the simple math, and the math here is really simple. It's not, I know you all could do more difficult math, but we're trying to pull back answers that we're not trying to solve problems and solve difficult equations. That works another part of our brain. We're trying to activate the part of our brain that just knows, 16 plus 2 is 18. 16 plus 3 is 19. We're working on that recall, thinking back to things we learned when we were really young and recalling that information. Writing prompts. So your workbook has over, I think we have 200 writing prompts now. So there's always something you can write about. Some people really enjoy the writing prompts. You want to write by hand versus typing. Writing by hand really works our brain more fully. And there's writing prompts about just about everything. And some people choose to write on the prompts. Others choose to just journal about their day, what's going on. Some write letters. I have one participant who is a retired military general, and he writes about military policy and procedure because that's what's interesting to him. So you can really write about anything. The key is just that you're writing by hand. And then the last exercise is reading aloud. And so I always recommend, read something that you enjoy, whether that's novels, a newspaper, or magazine articles, and consider reading with a partner, reading aloud to a friend, a spouse, child in your life, a pet. We don't read aloud after a certain point unless we have young children in our lives, but reading aloud is a great way for us to activate our brains and to help us practice, that attention and recall. So reading aloud, it can really be anything. Some people like to read poetry aloud because it's difficult for them to read, a novel out loud. They get kind of bored with it. So you can really try different things. If you read the newspaper every morning, pick one article that day that you're going to read aloud. We have some really great stories of success. One participant, Cliff, he started out only writing a sentence or two, but after a month doing Stronger Memory, Cliff started writing a whole page. He's now been doing Stronger Memory for at least a year, and he writes an entire page. He shares stories from his past with his wife. And the best moment was that about 3 months into Stronger Memory, he came on to our weekly Zoom meeting with a big smile on his face, because he had a traumatic brain injury, and he had been slowly learning how to do pretty much everything again. And so one of the things he had lost was his ability to follow directions and cook in the kitchen, and preparing meals was something that he and his wife really enjoyed doing together. And so he came in, he and his wife were on Zoom with big smiles on their faces, because he had gone into the kitchen, pulled out his recipe, and made his famous homemade salad dressing again. So that was a big story of success. Lots of positive things that participants have to say, which I'm not going to go through in detail because we have more exciting research that I'm going to pull up. Let me see. Stop my share for just a second. Any questions about the just general yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, is this the research you've been working on for the past couple of years?
Yes.
Okay. So this is an announcement of the results?
Yeah, so we had a webinar last Friday that shared a lot of the results. But I have some of the slides I can go over here. That full webinar where you can actually hear from Dr. Kathy Tompkins and the rest of the research team will be recorded, but we haven't uploaded that quite yet. We're making sure that we can upload it in a way that everyone will be able to see it.
That's exciting though, Jessica.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's really exciting. Great news. I will be sending out today a report that they did a summary for us. So a really easy to read kind of 2-page summary of the results. But then since we're on the call today, I figured I could go through it. The presentation with George Mason was fantastic. And it was very technical. So I've enjoyed being able to kind of explain it in a little bit easier terms to some of my groups.
Will we be able to share that simple explanation of the research with our village members?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it's really easy to read, to understand in that format. So to highlight, here we go. So the one thing we did learn is that in our research group, we didn't have a lot of diversity. And so that's something, we rolled Stronger Memory out with a variety of diverse groups, especially, the Maryland Senior Centers, but we haven't captured those in the research. And so George Mason, in their next phase of research that they're doing now, is really making an effort to make sure that we have more diversity, because we believe that these results are, applicable to everyone, but we want the data to back that up. What we found, that memory functioning questionnaire, this one was a self-assessment of memory. There wasn't anything statistically significant on this part. And so what it means if something is statistically significant, it just means that the researchers have looked at the data. It's a math, lots of math that they do, and it means that if it's something is statistically significant, then there's a, that's saying that, okay, this is more than just what could happen randomly, what could happen by chance. This is happening because of stronger memory. So we did have some interesting improvements on remembering past events and using mnemonics, using new memory, new ways to remember things. But this wasn't statistically significant, that self-assessment. The one question that was statistically significant on the MFQ was, how is your memory compared to the way it was 1 year ago? And so we can see in that pre-test, people were averaging, a 3.72. And then that post-test, it went all the way up to a 4.03. So that means that was a pretty big increase. So in general, people feeling that their memory compared to 1 year ago, we're seeing that they're self-reporting an improvement. What I am most excited about, though, is the results from the mini MOCA. The MOCA stands for Montreal Cognitive Assessment. And the MOCA is a test. It's administered by one of the researchers. A lot of the student researchers were trained. You have to go through a certification training to be able to administer the MOCA. And then participants are asked a variety of questions. So this is a bit more, this tool has a lot of, has a lot of validity, which means unlike a self-report that could have a lot of variance, most people will score very accurately on this test to what their functioning is. And so really exciting that overall, these numbers in red are the ones that improved, and overall people improved. Mini MOCA scores improved statistically significant levels. So we know it's not likely that it was just by chance that they improved or anything like that, but due to stronger memory, they improved. So someone scoring in total 12.79, that's the average here. It's on a scale of 15. After those 12 weeks of doing stronger memory with that post-test, they're scoring about 13.32. So that's really exciting to see. We can see that language fluency went up a little bit from 3.51 to 3.59. And the biggest jump in score was in recall. So 3.44 to 3.92 as the average. So that was really significant. What we found really kind of most interesting, the mini MOCA scores improved for individuals, whether you had any kind of diagnosis of mini MOCA or whether you scored less than 10 on the MOCA, which a score of less than 10 or less is a sign that there's some significant memory challenges. So maybe something like mild cognitive impairment or early signs of dementia. Individuals who had a score of 10 or less had a much larger improvement than individuals who had a score of 11 or more. So if you're already scoring in that normal range, your brain and your recall is already functioning very well, you're going to go up a few points, but it's not going to feel that drastic or measure that drastic. But for someone who's at a 9.81, meaning they have some mild cognitive impairment, they're having more than just the usual forgetting, they're having some memory lapses that are impacting maybe not everyday life, but parts of their lives on a weekly basis. Those people are going from a little below a 10 on average to a 12.35, which is 2 points above that normal score. So for people who have any memory challenges, this is helping them bridge that gap and getting them from struggling with the symptoms of MCI to functioning, having their brain function at the normal level. So that's really exciting. That's what we are, what I'm most excited about. And I think it really matches what a lot of our participants have said, because I have a lot of participants who do stronger memory, and they're doing it because they want to prevent any cognitive decline as they're aging, but they have trouble sticking with it because they don't notice a huge difference. And I think looking at these numbers, that makes a lot of sense to me, because if you're already in that normal aging range, you're going to improve a little bit, but it's not going to feel very dramatic. However, if you are already struggling with your memory and recall, you're going to improve a lot. And that's going to feel more significant. So this is really, really exciting news, that this is doing what we thought it was, doing what we hoped it was. And George Mason is really excited to keep working on this. They also did some focus groups. I know some of you who were in the research might have been part of a focus group, and that focus group data, they really they recorded those calls, and so then they typed out a transcript of exactly what was said and grouped it into themes. So this qualitative approach it's not numbers, so it can be kind of hard to understand how they're really getting scientific about it, but they put it into a data analysis program, software program, and really dug in. So they found a lot of themes: motivating, appreciating, challenging, committing, and enhancing. So overall, there was a lot of talk in the focus groups about motivating, a mix of internal and external reasons for joining Stronger Memory. Some of the interns were, well, why not give it a try? Or, I'm noticing and want to prevent memory decline. External motivations, community, incentive, desire to contribute to research so it could benefit others. That was a big one. Appreciating, that came out a lot. People really found meaning and enjoyment in the program, and they enjoyed sharing Stronger Memory with a broader audience. Challenging, so there were some different aspects of challenging. Some people found it challenging. The exercises are really simple and easy, and so it's tedious to keep up with for 12 weeks. Scheduling can be challenging to keep up with it for 12 weeks. And so there were some motivational struggles, and some people thought that it was difficult to stick with it. So that's good for us to know. We don't want to make the exercises too difficult, because then we're working a different part of the brain. But that gives us some input on maybe how we can tweak things, how we can try to help motivate people. I think having a group that you do this with, like you're doing at the Village, is really key for motivation. Committing, people described ways that they had formed habits and chosen to commit to the program, and then enhancing. So participants talked about ways that they adapted the program to fit their needs, built community. A lot of them even offered research suggestions. And that's something that we encourage. If you find a way to do the exercises that motivates you, that you enjoy, that helps you stick with it, do that and tell us about it so we can share your idea with other people. I know, like, my gentleman who writes about military policy and procedure, that's what keeps him engaged, and so that's what he does. I had a gentleman once who wrote he was trying to re-study Irish, the Irish language, and so he wrote in English and then copied it over in Irish, and that was how he did his writing. So there's lots of ways you can kind of adapt it to work best for you. And that was primarily the research. I went through it more quickly than George Mason did. They talked for about 45 minutes just on that research. And so I'll definitely send out that recording and that fact sheet. The recording is going to be up on our Stronger Memory YouTube channel. So it is, you all will be able to view it, but you can also share that with whoever you like, along with that info sheet, summary sheet of the research. You can share that with your village, with anybody. We're not hiding the results. Even if they weren't good, we wouldn't want to hide the results, but we're extra excited because the results were really exciting. Any questions for me? I know, I know that I think you're going to stay on for a little while, but happy to stay. Yeah, Holly.
Wait a minute, Bill has a question.
Okay, Bill. Yeah.
You're on mute, Bill.
I'm trying to unmute. There you go.
We're on.
You're good.
Jessica, when do you
Yeah.
decide on whether there will be face-to-face meetings? And can you, in a short couple of sentences, describe what we should hope the face-to-face gatherings will result in?
Yeah, so whether or not you have face-to-face gatherings versus Zoom, that's up to Glover Park. But I found, just in my own experience leading groups, that we've had some really great face-to-face groups and we've had some really great Zoom groups. It seems to be a different mix of people. A lot of people actually have really enjoyed Zoom because they're able to fit it in more easily around their daily schedule. They don't have to pick up and go somewhere. They can just hop on their Zoom. And we've also been able to, at least in the groups that I've led, we've been able to accept some people into the group that don't live nearby. So, what I do with the group I lead at Goodwin Living, of course, if that group is full of Goodwin Living participants, then they get kind of first dibs. But then we usually have space for a few more people to join, and we have some people who've gotten connected through friends or family that are affiliated with us that attend the group, and they want to invite their friend out in Washington State to join us, and on Zoom we can do that, and it's kind of fun. So yeah, there's definitely benefits to
So
both.
it very much depends on the sort of key elements of the group, of the
Yeah.
Zoom group. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Another thing I could add to that is that in this past year, Bill, we had some speakers. We had people who came and talked to us sort of to expand our understanding of what we were doing. And this year, Aaron, you can speak to what we're about to do, right? We're gonna do both in person and on Zoom, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do a bit of a hybrid this year so that we have in-person events and we have Zoom events. But we also wanted to hopefully kind of practice with partners using a buddy system. So, you have a little more accountability there. So I'm hoping to group up individuals with a buddy, and it doesn't have to be a Zoom call. It could just be a phone call, and just doing the problems together or checking in to see if you got your stronger memory homework done for the day. It makes a big difference. Also, in addition, I was hoping to partner with our volunteers and see if, some friendly visits or friendly phone calls to do the program would help, with continued maintenance of the program.
But basically you plan on each gathering be Zoom
No, it's
until.
like I
until
said,
some-
it's going to be a hybrid between Zoom and in person
Right from the beginning.
right from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Can I just
Good.
ask a quick question? Can we participate in the research? Is the research ongoing?
So there is ongoing research right now. What they're studying, Dr. Hyan Kang is a postdoc researcher at GMU, and he's focused on stronger memory. His study is he's doing a control group. And so right now it's a little bit limited to people in the Northern Virginia area because he's the one actually leading the groups. And it's limited to people who haven't done stronger memory at all before. If you participated in the original research, George Mason might be reaching out. They are trying to follow up with people on a 6-month basis and see if they'd be willing to just answer a few questions about if they're still doing stronger memory, to take that mini MOCA again. So we can see, we saw the short term, but we also want to know, are people sticking with it? Is it working in the long term? So you can participate that way.
How did we get onto that mini MOCA plan, or that whatever it's called?
Yeah, if you want to take that assessment, you can ask, so it's actually something covered under, sometimes you can take it via research or something like that, but an easier way is usually it's covered under Medicare from your primary care physician. They can do a cognitive screening, whether it's the MOCA or one similar. There's a few other ones. But they can do that for you. If you want to do kind of a self-assessment or a first step, brainguide.org is actually a really great first place to start. And they have, actually, let me find what this official site is, and I can send the link, mybrainguide.org. You can do a questionnaire that they've designed that walks you through some of the cognitive exercises on your own. Oh, yep. Thanks. And so that can be a great starting point, and you can even print off, it will ask you once you've done the test, if you want to talk to your doctor about anything, they can even print off, a summary of how you did on that test, kind of as a conversation starter.
Also, in the research, I don't know if you went here or not, but are there certain medications that you might be taking that could influence or cause some memory lapse and gaps?
Yeah, we didn't look at that with our research. We were really just honing in on stronger memory. Certainly there are some medications that could cause memory lapses, my advice is always to talk to your doctor about that if you're experiencing that. While we're on the topic of medications, I will also give my little plug that generally, if something, there's lots of vitamins and supplements out there that say they're great for the brain. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If there was a magic pill, we would all be taking it. And so just to be cautious, a lot of those are really expensive, and while they might not be harmful, what they're putting in it isn't really well researched. We don't know what it's doing. And even with vitamins, you can overdose on vitamins and have other health effects. So always talk to your doctor. If certain vitamins are deficient, that can cause some memory issues. Like if you're deficient in vitamin A, but if you have too much vitamin A, that causes its own set of health concerns. So always make sure that if you're going to add anything in like that, you're talking to your doctor.
And physical exercise has been kind of proven to be
Yes.
help. Okay.
Yes, that's the number one thing that you can do for your brain health. Even just 15 minutes of walking a day. It's anything that gets your heart rate up a little bit, because that gets our blood flowing. It gets our blood really oxygenated. And so then all that oxygenated blood goes up to our brain. It goes everywhere in our body, but it also goes up to our brain. So I love stronger memory and encourage you all to do that. But if you only have time for one thing, then definitely fitting in a little bit of exercise is the best thing we can do for our brains.
No, thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate you being here and giving us an overview of the program and all of the wonderful benefits. I think we'll definitely be adding a bit of that to what we're sending out to people to, get
Great.